But if you would drink from me, you will become the well, and other people will come to you for the water. Good morning, everyone. Man, the time in the Word has just been so good these days. So I've got another one that I'm excited to give you this morning. We're in John chapter 4, this morning's devotion. And right off the beginning, again, man, God's just been hitting me early with it. But early on, right at the beginning of the chapter, Jesus, he's leaving as the Pharisees find out that he's baptizing and they're getting all upset. So he's like, I'm going to get out of here. And it says in verse 5, he came to a city of Samaria called Sychar, near the parcel of ground that Jacob gave to his son Joseph, and Jacob's well was there. Jesus, therefore, being wearied from his journey, was sitting thus by the well. It was about the 6th hour. And so many of us are familiar with this story of Jesus with the woman at the well. But oh my gosh, what God opened up for me this morning, this is wild. So the city of Samaria called Sychar. So Sychar translated means drunken. So the interesting thing about this is there's a connection that I draw because yesterday in my men's group, we were reading Hosea chapter 10. And so right in the beginning of Hosea chapter 10, it says, Israel is a luxuriant vine. He produces fruit for himself. The more his fruit, the more altars he made. The richer his land, the better he made the sacred pillars. Their heart is faithless. Now they must bear their guilt. The Lord will break down their altars and destroy their sacred pillars. And one of the things we talked about this passage is how when God was giving Israel blessings, they were starting to just kind of like take advantage of the goodness of God and his blessings, and they just started building altars to themselves, believing that like, hey, we're doing this for ourselves, and they kind of left God out of the equation. They forgot that God was the one bringing their blessing. So I see a similar connection here where you have Sychar, which, like I said, translated means drunken. And it's right near Jacob's well, where this popular well that was deep, it produced a lot of water. So this town was probably taking some of this water from the well, creating alcoholic drinks with it, and they were just a bunch of drunks. So this whole town the name of the town is associated with drunkenness, with the living just this life of being a bunch of booze hounds. And it probably was because they have this deep well to constantly go and draw from. So with all of this as a kind of a backstory, a context, we come to this interaction between Jesus and the woman. And so the woman comes out, and the first thing that Jesus says to her is, give me a drink. Not, can I have some water? But he says, give me a drink. And for a town that is just associated with drunkenness and all of that stuff, it had to throw this lady through a loop, because the other thing about it is Jesus is breaking so many cultural taboos here. He's just violating so many things. One of them is listed in the text, and that is that Jews don't have dealings with Samaritans. They were greatly hated. It was like a deeper racial tension than what we even see in our society today. It was just a thing where the Jews and Samaritans hated each other. So here's this Jew talking to a Samaritan lady. Another one is that the men and women in this kind of isolated interaction wouldn't really be happening, because there was an oral tradition amongst the religious leaders that anyone who was a rabbi, they should not have one-on-one interaction with a woman, whether they were Jew or not. And then there is the fact that this woman it says that she's had kind of an immoral past, right? That she's gone from man to man, husband to husband, relationship to relationship. So here is Jesus, this Jew who's supposed to be abiding by the Jewish law and all this stuff, all the tradition that we know the Jews have kind of taken on, and this self-righteous sort of nature that has just become a part of, unintentionally, not how God intended it, but it's become a part of the Jewish culture. Here's Jesus breaking all of it. And this lady had to be completely thrown, because here's this dude who's just like, is he trying to violate every law that he can? Every regulation, every tradition? Jesus says, give me a drink? That's crazy. And so I can only imagine what was running through this woman's mind. And of course she comes to, how is it that you, a Jew, ask me for a drink since I'm a Samaritan woman? And that's verse 9. And then Jesus hits her with it. He lays the hammer down and he says, if you knew the gift of God and who it is who says to you, give me a drink, you would have asked him and he would have given you living water. So he hits her with the truth. And now it's more than just a drink. Now this is something that is so far beyond our comprehension. And of course, she goes on to ask a question. And Jesus says, if you receive, whoever drinks this water will thirst again. But if you receive and drink the water that I give you, it shall become a well within you, springing up to eternal life. So another cultural thing here is it's believed that this woman went up to the well like midday at noon, hottest part of the day. All the other women of the town would have been coming to the well early in the morning when it's cooler, but her, probably because she was looked down upon with all of her relationships and her questionable morality, all this stuff, she's avoiding all these ladies, avoiding all the judgment, all that stuff, and she decides to come to the well middle of the day. And so she's just like, sir, give me this water. I don't want to have to come back out here. Like, it sucks. And Jesus is telling her, no, you don't understand that you come to this well, but if you would drink from me, you will become the well, and other people will come to you for the water. The water that you have, people will come to you. And of course, this isn't a literal water. He's talking about something spiritual, because he goes on to say, obviously, springing up to eternal life. But man, the way he just takes the reputation and the culture of this whole village, and I can only imagine, like, he had to throw this lady through a loop when he said, hey, give me a drink. Because the Jews were supposed to be the people who bore like the image of morality. And here he is walking a line that looks like he's teetering on a line of immorality, but really what he's doing is just trying to show the love and grab someone's attention and draw them into his goodness and his love, so that they can have that well springing up within them to eternal life and carry that water and spread that water throughout the village and to more people. Man, this one just really got me this morning. I hope you guys got something from that too. This is just, God is speaking. God is on the move. God is speaking. Make sure you're in your word. Stay in this word every day, because it is alive. I love you guys. We'll see you next time.